Hey everyone! Let's travel back in time to the late 1800s. European countries, wanting more resources and power, set their sights on Africa. This time is called the Scramble for Africa, where they divided up the continent without caring about the people or their cultures who already lived there. A big meeting happened in Berlin from 1884 to 1885. Otto von Bismarck from Germany organized it, and European leaders came together to decide who got which part of Africa. They treated Africa like a pie, cutting it into pieces without thinking about the different groups of people and their complex societies. This created problems later on because they mixed up different groups who didn't get along. Why did they do this? Mostly for money. Africa had lots of valuable things like gold, diamonds and rubber. European countries wanted these resources to make themselves richer. They built mines and farms that made them wealthy but took away from Africa's own wealth. They also thought they were better than Africans and needed to civilize them. When European colonizers arrived, they messed up African political systems. Whether it was big kingdoms like the Ashanti and Zulu or smaller communities like the Igbo, their ways of governing were replaced by European ones. Sometimes they used indirect rule, where they made traditional leaders work for them. This trick made it look like traditional leaders still had power, but it actually weakened them. The Europeans would make different groups fight each other so no one could challenge them. This caused divisions that still affect some African countries today. European legal systems also caused problems. They thought African laws and customs were bad and replaced them with their own. This not only hurt local customs, but also made laws that helped the Europeans take advantage of Africa. The main reason for colonizing Africa was to make European countries richer. They took Africa's natural resources without a second thought. They dug mines for gold, diamonds, and other minerals. They turned good farmland into huge farms to grow things like coffee, cocoa, and rubber, which they could sell. This hurt African societies a lot. Millions of people lost their homes and were forced to work in terrible conditions for very little or no money. Growing only these cash crops meant people didn't have enough food to eat. The wealth taken from Africa helped Europe grow stronger, but it stopped Africa from developing its own industries. This system created long-lasting problems that still affect many African countries. They became dependent on selling raw materials instead of building their own economies. You can still see the effects of this exploitation in the poverty and lack of development in many parts of Africa. Colonization wasn't just about controlling land and resources, it was also about changing African culture. Europeans wanted to force their own values and beliefs on Africans, often saying African cultures were not as good. This happened in many ways, from banning African languages to starting Western schools. Missionary schools taught kids to read and write, which was good, but they also told them to reject their own cultures and accept European ones. Traditional religions were looked down upon, and Christianity was encouraged. This cultural takeover really hurt African societies. People felt lost and disconnected from their own culture. Traditional art, music, and stories were suppressed, while European culture was celebrated. Even today, African societies are still working to bring back and protect their cultural heritage.